Okay, Boricua Zionist Nation is back. Okay, I want to salute from Puerto Rico, my people from Puerto Rico. I want to salute my people from Chicago, praying for them. City of Chicago is going through bad times. We're gonna get through it. God bless all of Chicago. I want to salute all my people from the United States as a whole, the greatest nation in the world. Hoorah! Okay, so I want to finish talking about for the last part in my mini series about Israel. Hey, so this is the last part of the mini series of miracles and blessings of Israel. I want to start real fast because it's going to be quite long video. I want to talk. I want to put this picture on. There you have it. That's the dream team of the devil. Because I want to talk with facts. Hey, facts and evidence. These people are against the pros and I want to talk about the things that these people are against and the things they are for. They're against Christianity, against Bible, against churches. Okay, we could put all these things together, right? These three things. They're against the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so that is the Judeo-Christian values that we have. Okay, they're against Israel as well. They're against the police. They're against the national anthem of the United States. They're against the flag. Okay, they're against oil and natural gas. Okay, this is the things that these people are for. They're for abortion. They're for the LGBTQ. They're globalists. They're giving the power to the United Nations, like Barack Hussein Obama did when he didn't veto a resolution against Israel. Okay, they're for criminals, like the criminals that are destroying all those cities in the United States right now. Okay, these people of those people in that picture, two of them are Muslim radicals. Two of them are socialist radicals, and two of them are leftist radicals. Okay, leftists to the real left. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to point them out. You know who I'm talking about. These people are together for one purpose. Because these people don't agree with each other. But they are uniting to destroy our way of life, our Judeo-Christian value. That is the most important thing for these people. That's the thing that they want to destroy the most. Okay, the things these people have on their side. That's why this election is going to be close, or could be close. I think Donald Trump is going to win anyways. But they have the media on their side. They have Hollywood on their side, and they have the sports, media, and athletes on their sides as well. The majority of them, Okay. Oh, so I want to read this to you. There's a verse. Okay. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him the power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wandered around the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave the power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. Okay. let me just try to explain you something here, because this that I read you before about what Barack Hussein Obama did. That I told you in my last video. So I'm picking up where I left off in my last video. Okay, he gave the power, Barack Hussein Obama, when he didn't veto the last resolution when he was president. He didn't veto that resolution that the United Nations did against Israel. Okay, so the dragon, who by that time who was Barack Hussein Obama, gave his power to the beast, the United Nations. Okay, that is how I see this. Because the United States has the power to stop it. But no, he gave his power to the United Nations. That was an antichrist. And this guy is still around. Okay? This guy hasn't left. Okay? So when you see this, the globalists, because they're globalists, giving the power to the United Nations, like Barack Hussein Obama did when he didn't veto a resolution against Israel. Okay? You can see that the dragon, who was Barack Hussein Obama, gave his power to the United Nations. And that is what is going to happen if these people win the elections now. Okay? It's the same thing that is going to happen. These people, this Joe Biden, is going to give his power to the United Nations so the United Nations could do this to Israel. Take a look at this other picture. Because we all know that Joe Biden was the vice president of Barack Hussein Obama. And they didn't protect Israel. They didn't. They gave their power to the United Nations. And that is the same thing these people are going to do if they win the elections once again. They're going to give their power to the United Nations. So the dragon is going to be Joe Biden. See how this changes? Because the Bible says that many antichrists will come. And these people are antichrists. There's going to be one last antichrist at the end times. Because these people are antichrists right now. There's going to be many antichrists before the last antichrist comes to the world. That is the dragon, who is giving his power to the United Nations. Take a look at this picture and all these resolutions against Israel. Because if you take a look at this picture, you can see that there were from 2019 to 2020, 18 resolutions against Israel and 7 resolutions against the rest of the world. Take a look at that. Okay? So there was one resolution against Iran. How crazy is that? There was one resolution the other day that the United States brought up to the United Nations, and only one country was for it, and united with the United States, the Dominican Republic. Only one country to stop to put the embargo against Iran, the weapons embargo. Okay, that was on the weapons embargo of Iran. Only one country supported the United States, the Dominican Republic. None of the other countries did nothing. I'm pretty sure that if this resolution was against Israel, almost all these nations would have gone against Israel. Almost all of them. Exclusively the EU, the European Union. Okay, just take a look at this. One resolution against Iran, 2 resolutions against Syria, 3 against North Korea, 4 against Myanmar, 5 against the United States of America, 5 resolutions against the United States of America. How crazy is that? Because of the embargo of Cuba. This is laughable. I'm telling you, this is laughable. I'm telling you. Take a look at this again. EU states voted for 13 out of 18 times resolutions singling out Israel. So who's the beast? The EU, the European Union, who controls the UN, the United Nations. That's who's the beast. And the dragon is whoever is going to take power in the United States, who's going to give the power to these people. Donald Trump is not going to do that. Donald Trump is against these people. He's even taken fun from these people, because these people are always attacking Israel and even the United States. You can see that the United States has five resolutions against the United States. 1 against Iran, 2 against Syria, 3 against North Korea, 4 against Myanmar, and 5 against the U.S. This is a crazy world we're living in. Crazy world. No resolutions against the EU. Why? They control the United Nations. That's why it says that in the verse that I read to you, it says, "And I saw one of his head as were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed." That is Rome coming back. The Roman Empire coming back. Okay? That's how it's going to come back. That is how the Roman Empire is going to be coming back. Okay? So his deadly wound was healed. They were dead. They were dead. They're going to come back. And Antichrist, the last and most powerful Antichrist, the devil in the flesh, is going to be coming out of the EU. Okay? That's why I brought you this. Want to keep going with Israel, what it was talking about Israel and its military power. I'm going to start showing you all the technology, military technology Israel has made, and it is great. It's great. These people are great people. They have to do this to protect themselves, because when these people take power, if they do take power, and they give their power to the United Nations, Israel will be pushed to make concessions to the Palestinian people. They will be pushed to accept a deal, a peace deal that they won't like. All the nations are going to go against Israel, and Israel is going to be pushed to do it because they won't have the veto power from the United States. They won't have the help. So this is why Israel's got to prepare themselves. I want to start with this, with the Merkava tank. No, I'm going to start first with the assault rifles and handguns. I'm going to show you some clips and short videos. Okay, I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to keep showing you the rest. Let me show you the assault rifles and handguns first. Take a look at it. Okay, so you just saw how Israel made all those weapons, great weapons. Okay, this is it. All of these weapons are made by Israel. This small country. Okay, just take a look at this tank, this great tank they have, the Merkava tank. They made this tank, and in these clips and videos and short videos are going to explain you why they made this tank. Because after the 6 Day War, the French and the UK, the British, didn't want to sell any more tanks to Israel because they were jealous of Israel. Because when they saw Israel defeating all these countries, the way that Israel defeated them, humiliated them, they were jealous. That was the greatest victory in war history. There hasn't been a victory like that one. They defeat so many countries against only one small country in 6 days. It is a miracle. It's a miracle. Okay? They saw that miracle and they got so angry and so jealous and so envy that they didn't want to sell no more tanks to Israel. Well, what did Israel do? You don't want to sell more tanks to us? Our own tank. Well, they made one of the best tanks in the world right now. They made this tank. they put to this tank's defense systems, missile systems. That they're like the Iron Dome. That if they shoot Israel with any kind of missile, that they will bring it down. You will see it in this video, this clip. I'm going to show you. Okay, there it is.
The real reasons why everyone fears Israel's Merkava tank. In the past 40 years, just a handful of countries have proved themselves capable of building their own main battle tanks. One of these tank powers is actually one of the smallest countries in the world, Israel. Israel's main battle tank, the Merkava series, is one of the best designed tanks ever produced. Israel's independence in 1948 saw the formation of the Israeli Defense Forces, and the IDF cobbled together a modest, ramshackle tank force to repel attacks from neighboring Arab countries. By the 1956 war, the situation had improved considerably, and by 1967 Israel's armored corps basically won the 6-Day War with a blitz across the Sinai Peninsula and into the Golan Heights. Israel's preemptive attack on its neighbors was not popular with some of its European allies. The United Kingdom cancelled a joint tank development project with Israel. France embargoed further deliveries of Mirage fighter jets and missile boats. The lesson for Israel was to decrease its reliance on foreign powers for its armaments, and in 1970 the IDF began to develop a tank of its own. The new tank, known as Merkava Chariot, was unveiled in May 1979. The tank was unlike anything fielded by other armies, particularly the United States and Soviet Union. The Merkava first saw action in 1982, when it fought Soviet-made Syrian T-72 tanks in the Bekaa Valley. Merkavas destroyed several T-72s at ranges of up to 4,000 meters, without loss to a single T-72. Israel's frequent wars have resulted in a consistent flow of combat experience, resulting in new and progressively improved Merkava tanks. The current tank, Merkava IV, retains the Merkava I's design priorities and incorporates a new redesigned turret, explosive reactive armor and modular passive armor for quicker battle damage repair. It mounts a larger 120mm main gun with 58 rounds, including the Lauha anti-tank guided missile, 18 more rounds than the M1A2 Abrams with a similar gun. It has a larger 1,500 horsepower engine, bringing the horsepower to weight ratio up to 23.8 to 1, and the tank is correspondingly faster. The Merkava is protected by the Trophy Active Protection System, which uses a combination of turret-mounted sensors and explosively formed projectiles to shoot down enemy tank gun rounds, rockets and anti-tank guided missiles. Trophy is combat-proven, having saved several Merkava IV tanks and their crews from anti-tank weapons fielded by Hamas in 2014's Operation Protective Edge in the Gaza Strip. Israeli tankers are also set this year to experiment with Iron Vision, an augmented reality system designed to allow crews to see outside of their tank with a combination of VR goggles and distributed aperture system. An iconoclastic tank in the world of heavy armor, Merkava is also a proven combat winner. While not the tank for every army, it is the perfect main battle tank for the Israeli Defense Forces. As important as tanks are to Israel's security, the country has already started development of a successor to the Merkava IV well before it reaches obsolescence. As Israel's enemies already know, the Merkava will be a tough tank to beat.
In recent conflicts, the proliferation of guided anti-tank missiles and RPGs has highlighted the inability of traditional armor to protect against those threats. A new approach was needed, leading to the development of Active Protection Systems, abbreviated as APS. Rather than absorbing the blow of a projectile like traditional armor, the theory of an APS is to destroy or disrupt the threat before it can impact the vehicle. Many APS systems are in development, but in this video we are specifically comparing the two premier systems. The first
So you just saw that great tank that Israel has. A great tank, one of the best in the world. This tank has been proven in wars. Proven. Now with the defense system they have, they're more deadly. Because in the war in 2006, in the war against Lebanon and against Hezbollah, they didn't have that defense system. Now they have it. That is why this people, the leader of Hezbollah, is inside a bunker, and all their soldiers are like rats inside the ground, like rats hiding inside the ground. So these people are going to start shooting missiles to Israel, and they're going to be hiding inside the ground. And when Israel starts attacking these people, all this, many civilians will die. But they don't care about that. They don't care about the civilians. We saw that in the 2006 war, where 200 civilians, 1,200 civilians died in the side of Lebanon, and no civilians died in the side of Israel. That is the way these people that they said they win wars. Yeah, right. And so we're gonna keep going with the armored vehicle. I'm gonna show you this. This is a great tank. It has a great technology. Just take a look at this. This is great.
It is semi-automatic, equipped with the latest technology, extremely lethal from the outside while protecting the soldiers inside. Meet Carmel, the armored car of the future. The Israeli Ministry of Defense showcased the newly developed ground fighting vehicle, one that is far different than anything seen before.
This is the transparent cockpit solution. Okay, screens which enable us 360-degree view. You can see the top 180 over here, and the bottom 180 is the rear. So I see the front and I see the rear. I have a 360-degree view. I don't need to turn my head anywhere.
The attacking capabilities of Carmel are enormous, almost like those of a fighter jet. It can fire missiles, it can fire from its cannon, it can even send drones to find targets and destroy them, and it does it while helping the soldiers inside select the right kind of weapon.
You can see here in purple, this is ATR, automatic target recognition. Right now already finding certain points which it recognizes as targets. The ATR will give me a detection, and me as an operator, all I need to do is hold these, shoot it down, and that way you use the autonomous systems in order to shoot down targets.
For now, the system is placed only in existing armored vehicles, but it is already changing their concept, as technology allows those vehicles to operate with 2 people inside instead of 4, this in preparation for future, much smaller models.
In the future, we want to see lighter vehicle, very light, very efficient, very precise. You want it to be very small, so you need to have less people in the cockpit.
Israel has fought its last wars mainly from the air. It's a kind of war with very few casualties for the IDF, but one that does not bring a decisive victory. Carmel is meant to change that. When it is time to make the one final ground maneuver, the one that wins the war, these are the vehicles, and this is the technology that will come in, and the IDF expects it to deal Hamas and Hezbollah the final blow.
You saw how great that tank is. That armor vehicle. It is another tank. It has drones, has cameras everywhere. You don't have to put your head out of the armor vehicle or tank to see around. It has missiles. It is a complete war machine. It is a great war machine. I don't think it has been used yet. This is going to be a great weapon against these people. I'm going to be showing you the Rhino truck, and it's another great acquisition for the Israelis. There you go.
Hey Michelle, welcome to New Tech 2020. Israel's exhibition of military and aviation technologies, the most cutting edge that this country has to offer. We got an inside look at some of the most impressive and some of the most practical products on display here. For example, this grenade holder, it allows easy use with one hand. It was designed for an Israeli Special Forces officer who was injured while trying to deploy one of his grenades. Now it's in use by the U.S. military. And there are other things on display here, things that are maybe larger and more impressive. For example, what's called the Karnaf, also known as the Rhino.
This is an all-purpose, all-terrain vehicle. Its capabilities do not change, even when dealing with extremely heavy cargo. Not only is its off-road ability not altered, its speed is also largely unaffected by even the most extreme conditions.
And for them, it's not the only product and technology that's in use by militaries, for example, the Israel Defense Forces.
We have developed a remote control system that can be installed on all types of vehicles, from an armored combat vehicle to a private car. This system makes every vehicle semi-autonomous, controlled either through a control center, which can be 25 miles away from the driver, or also through predetermined points so the vehicle can arrive to those preset points all by itself.
Let's say a battalion parachutes down in Iraq, for example. They don't have a cellular network, but they bring this cellular kit, which will provide them the network with something like a 7-mile radius, allowing them to speak to one another at will.
Now, it wasn't only military tech giants that came here to participate in the event. The some 500 or so people were also greeted by...
Okay, so you just saw this truck, the armored truck, the Rhino, and this grenade. The soldiers throw it with one hand. They don't need both hands to throw it. And even the Americans are buying it. Okay, so you saw that is great. The armored vehicle truck or the Rhino, and this grenade. We're gonna keep going with the F-35. Okay, this is a plane that is not made by Israel, but one thing has to cut everyone's attention. Israel is the only country, the first country that got this plane was Israel. And it's the only country in the world, the only country who can make changes to this plane. Israel. That is why I'm putting it here as well, because there had to be something that the Jewish scientists work on this plane in the United States, or something happened that they get to do these things, and the Americans know and are confident, and the Israelis that what everything that the Israelis do, they will give to the Americans. Okay, so if they do something for this plane, the Americans will have it as well. Okay, so that is why the Americans are so confident with the Israelis working on this plane. The only country, no other country who buys this plane can do anything to it. Has to leave it the way it is. Okay, Israel is the only country that can make changes to this plane. F-35, the best plane in the world right now. Okay, I'm going to show you this clip. You could see and explain here how Israel made this plane better.
Video alert. Yes, the F-35 is the best aircraft on the planet, and stealth has its advantages. These high-tech stealth aircraft can beat anything they come across. And here are the snippets to prove it. Recent comments on the F-35's fifth-generation fighter have centered on its firepower and stealth capabilities, but the recently released demonstration video depicts the fighter in a different light. A clip from Captain Andrew's Dojo Olsen Instagram page last year featured the F-35A Lightning II in a series of dramatic aerial maneuvers, performed at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. The highly outstanding video, posted last week, starts with Olsen doing a pitch-up that seamlessly switches into a tight loop. Olsen went on to execute what he teased last month as a controlled flat spin as it falls from the sky, in effect a controlled downward spiral. He then slowly resumed his flight, ending with a left throw before zooming out of the shot. This short video, filmed last month, is what Olsen, commander of the F-35 demonstration team, called the appetizer for the 2019 airshow season. What makes fifth-generation fighters so special in general is their slow speed, maneuverability. The high angle of attack it can do, Olsen continued in an Air Force press statement. I am very proud of our team's achievements last year. But I am also very excited about the upcoming season to finally be able to show air show audiences around the world the full potential of the F-35A Lightning II.
See this F-35? Israel took America's most lethal stealth fighter and made it better. On May 22, Israeli Air Force Commander Amikam Norkin announced that its F-35I stealth fighters had flown on 2 combat missions on different fronts, showing as proof a photograph of an F-35 overflying Beirut. While details on those missions have not been released, apparently, they were not deployed in a massive Israeli air attack on Iranian forces in Syria that took place on May 9. This nonetheless apparently confirmed the first combat operations undertaken by any variant of the controversial stealth jet, which is currently entering service with the militaries of 10 countries after undergoing over 2 decades of development. In fact, Israel's F-35I Adur or Mighty Ones will be the only F-35 variant to enter service, heavily tailored to a foreign country's specifications. There had been plans for a Canadian CF-35 with a different refueling probe and rogue parachute to allow landing on short Arctic airstrips, but Ottawa dropped out of the F-35 program. However, the Lockheed Martin has mostly refused to allow major country-specific modifications to the F-35, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars foreign F-35 operators contributed to the aircraft's development. There is, of course, an efficiency-based rationale, given the additional costs and delays of creating country-specific variants, and the fact that Lockheed is struggling to both produce F-35s fast and cheaply enough, and build enough spare parts for the hundreds already in service. Israel, however, managed to carve out an exception. Though not an investor in the F-35's development, Tel Aviv was nonetheless quick to sign on to the program, with an initial order of 50. It also negotiated a favorable deal in which billions of dollars worth of F-35 wings and sophisticated helmet sets would be manufactured in Israel, paid for with U.S. military aid.
Israel is proving why the F-35 stealth fighter is nearly unstoppable. Israel has expanded its operations against Iranian targets to Iraq, where Israeli Air Force, IAF, F-35I stealth fighters have struck twice in 10 days. According to the Times of Israel, IAF fighter jets commonly strike in Syrian territory where they target Iranian missile shipments meant for Lebanese terror group Hezbollah to use against the Jewish state by conducting, but strikes in Iraq by Israel have not been reported since the 1981 bombing of a nuclear reactor, Operation Opera. Asher Al-Assad, an Arabic-language newspaper published in London, cited Western diplomatic sources as saying an Israeli F-35I Adir fighter jet was behind a July 19, 2019 strike on a rocket depot in a Shiite militia base north of Baghdad. The Saudi-based Al Arabiya network reported that members of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps and Hezbollah had been killed in the strike. It said the base had received Iranian ballistic missiles, which had been hidden inside trucks shortly before the strike. Iraq's military said at the time that 1 fighter was killed and 2 Iranians wounded, saying the strike was carried out by an unmanned drone. The U.S. denied involvement. According to Asher Al-Assad, Israel was behind another strike in Iraq too. On July 28, Israel in fact conducted a strike against Camp Ashraf, the former headquarters of the exiled People's Mujahideen of Iran, located 40 kilometers northeast of Baghdad and 80 kilometers from the Iranian border. That strike targeted Iranian advisors and a ballistic missile shipment, the report cited sources as saying. The report also mentioned a strike in Syria last week blamed on Israel, in which 9 were killed, including 6 Iranians fighting for the Syrian regime, claiming it was meant to prevent Iran from taking over a strategic hill in the Daraa province in the country's south. Israeli missiles targeted military positions and intelligence facilities belonging to Iran and pro-Iranian militias in the southern provinces of Daraa and Quneitra early on Wednesday, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said at the time. The other 3 killed in the strike were pro-regime Syrian fighters, it added. Israel does not usually comment on specific reports.
Okay, so you're sorry. This just great. All the things that Israel does. They have the best pilots in the world. They have been proven war after war. They know how to work on these things. If there was a day that I would love to see the Israelis make their own plane, their own stealth plane. You know how great that plane would be? If there was the case that the United States wouldn't want to sell planes to Israel, Israel would make their own plane, and it would be one of the best, if not the best. Okay, so you can see how they're trusted to do things to this plane, make changes to this plane, and nobody else can make changes to this plane. Only Israel. It is just great. I'm telling you, I feel so happy for that, because that shows you the different level the Israelis are. Okay, just with the Americans right there. I think that in the case of power, the United States is much bigger. It has more capability. They have more weapons. They have more. They have more on everything. But in the case of best military, best army, I gotta put the Israel on top, and the United States. Okay, Israel has been proven year after year, decade after decade. This is something that they're just doing this constantly. Constantly. They gotta be dealing with this terrorists from Gaza, from Lebanon, from Hezbollah, from Hamas, from Gaza. Right now they're throwing balloons to Israel. That they're trying to burn the lands in Israel. They're shooting missiles at Israel from the south. Hamas and other terrorist organizations in the Islamic Jihad, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, other terrorist organizations there, and they're getting bombed real ugly, real ugly, but they don't care. These people are accustomed to live like rats, they're accustomed. Right now, Israel is blocking them from everything, and they don't care. They just keep throwing balloons to Israel and burning some fields and doing some things to Israel that they know they can't win. They know it. Every time Israel bombs these people, these people, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them because they don't care about their families. They don't care about their people. They don't care about their children. They don't care about their women. They don't care about their elders. They don't care about anything. They do this just because they just want to. I just don't understand why they do this. I don't understand. I'm telling you. I'm gonna keep going. I want to show you the defensive systems of Israel: the David Sling, the Iron Dome, and the Arrow 2. This is some great defense systems that they have for long range missiles and for short range missiles. I'm going to show you this. This is just great technology from Israel, and all other countries buy all these things from Israel. So Israel makes billions of dollars in this aspect. Billions. Check it out.
In Israel and in much of the world, Iron Dome needs no introduction. After 7 years defending against more than 1,700 Gaza-launched rockets, Iron Dome has come to symbolize Israeli ingenuity abroad, while at home, it's a generic term for any national effort aimed at fortifying security. Against tunnels at the Gaza border, Israel is erecting an underground Iron Dome. Against hackers and cyber threats, the goal here is a digital Iron Dome.
We're aiming to establish what I like to call the digital Iron Dome.
But with Israel and Iran headed for military confrontation in Syria, and with Hezbollah's 100,000 rockets and missiles threatening from Lebanon, Israel's newest front line of defense, a system known here as David Sling, is sure to become the next household word in the coming war in the north. Designed to serve as the heavy lifting layer of Israel's multi-tiered network, David Sling defends hundreds of square kilometers of airspace. It bridges lower-tier, localized threats handled by Iron Dome and the upper-tier Arrow that aims to destroy much longer-range, possibly nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles in space.
You can compare it to any kind of system you can imagine. Dealing with any kind of threat from the ground, from the surface, up to the atmosphere, the end of the atmosphere.
In addition to short-range ballistic missiles and long-range artillery rockets, like the Iranian Kashay destroyed last month on Syrian soil, David Sling is also designed to defend against cruise missiles and other so-called air-breathing threats, like the Iranian drone launched from Syria that was shot down over Israel earlier this year.
It's not like Iron Dome, whose threats were defined as custom rockets of short range. In David Sling, we know how to look far enough in the future to determine what threats we would face and what scenarios David Sling would need to give answers to.
Unlike Iron Dome, which uses an explosive warhead to destroy incoming targets, David Sling's dolphin-shaped radar and electro-optically guided missile, called the Stunner, destroys threats through sheer force of impact. It's like hitting a bullet with a bullet.
I've traveled to Ashkelon, the coastal city just south of Tel Aviv that nudges up against the Gaza Strip.
What you were seeing here right now is the launcher. Each launcher has 20 missiles on it. You can see the red light flashing, which means it's armed and ready.
Here, one of the dozen or so Iron Dome batteries sits at the ready to intercept missiles and provide Israel with a type of shield from aerial attacks.
I'm the Iron Dome commander.
Lieutenant Colonel Liran Cohen oversees its operation.
Is this as close as we get, or do we get...
This is as close as we get.
It took just 3 years and about $200 million to develop this defense system. It relies on a radar that instantly detects when a missile has been fired. Algorithms quickly try to determine what type of projectile is in the air and whether it's heading for a populated or strategic area. If so, Iron Dome launches a missile of its own. It's said that Iron Dome has taken down more than 1,000 missiles since it turned on in 2011, with a 90% success rate. Some people question the accuracy of these figures. What's clear, though, is that the algorithms capable of directing projectiles while performing a cost-benefit analysis on human life are among the most advanced in the world. This network of launchers is highly mobile and constantly on the move. This site, like many, is temporary.
Everything you see here can be moved out in a matter of hours. And we move around a lot to make sure nobody knows where we are all the time.
Unless you live here, it's difficult to imagine just how much this technology has transformed the lives of ordinary Israelis.
I can tell you from my own personal experience, sitting in my own house and seeing rockets fired towards my house and operating this incredible system and succeeding. With the Iron Dome, when you see your house that you're protecting and your family and your friends and your soldiers, it's a sense of great sense of pride.
For many Palestinians, Iron Dome means something else. It's just the most visible part of an expansive Israeli security apparatus that includes drones, checkpoints, and espionage technology. Those tools have been put to immediate use in the West Bank, Gaza, and throughout Israel. Terrorist bombings have declined. Missiles have met their match. But lower-tech forms of protest, like stabbings, are now on the rise.
On Wednesday, the Israeli Defense Ministry spokesperson said the Missile Defense Organization, INDO, of the Directorate of Defense Research and Development, DDR&D, and the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, MDA, completed a successful flight test campaign with the Arrow 2 interceptor missile on August 12 at 11:45 p.m. Israel time. A ground-based interceptor was launched at a California air base and shot down a long-range surface-to-surface missile, SSM, with an offensive warhead at a test range in central Israel and over the Mediterranean Sea, the Missile Defense Agency, MDA, said. Throughout the test, the Arrow 2 system successfully engaged a Sparrow target missile, which simulates a long-range surface-to-surface missile, the ministry said. The campaign was conducted in accordance to the defense establishment's plans. The Arrow weapon system is a central part of Israel's multi-layer defense system. The defense system is based on 4 operational layers: Iron Dome defense system, David Sling weapon system, the Arrow 2, and the Arrow 3. Following the test, alternate Prime Minister and Defense Minister Benny Gantz said that Israel must face challenges both near and far, and our elite technological unit led by the Directorate of Defense Research and Development, Israel Aerospace Industries and Additional Defense Industries, ensures that we will always be one step ahead of our enemies, and that we will defend Israeli skies from any threat. The joint Israeli-American test reflects the partnership and friendship between the two countries as well as the deep commitment of the United States to the safety of the citizens of Israel, Gantz continued. We will continue to work together to strengthen the capabilities of the defense establishment in the air, land and sea, as well as in cyberspace. MDA remains committed to assisting the government of Israel as it upgrades its national missile defense capability against current and emerging threats, said the U.S. agency's director, Vice Admiral John Hill.
Have it. It's great, it's something that Israel is just so prepared. Any war, and not even the Russians go at Israel on nothing. Israel keeps attacking sites and Iranian targets in Syria, and the Russians don't do nothing because the Russians know that the capabilities Israel has. It's not an easy task. They just prove it. They just knew that in the attrition war against Israel from 1967 to 1970. I talked about this in my first video. Like 60 to 50 plus 60 soldiers of the Soviet Union died, and that was when it was the Soviet Union, much more stronger than they are right now. So you can see how well prepared the Israelis are. That no nation wants to have war against them. They talk like that. Talk. That's all they do. They throw some missiles. They try to say, we're sure we beat the Israelis. They have to live. They haven't beat the Israelis, and they will never beat the Israelis. And when Israel needs the help, the real help, up there, they're gonna. Even if all the world goes against Israel, and that is gonna happen, God is gonna come, like He has done. Okay, so I just want to show you the last great invention of Israel, because this was the Israelis were the ones who invented this. Okay, is a great invention. This is a great technological invention that they use for the rifles, for their assault rifle. It's called the Smart Shooter. Take a look at it.
It doesn't matter if you are after physical exertion, if you are under physical or moral pressure, if you're gasping for air, each bullet will hit its target.
The question is, how do you convert a simple assault rifle into this weapon? A precision shooting instrument for infantry soldiers. The name of this system, Smart Shooter, an Israeli company founded 9 years ago.
Our goal is to take the concept of precision weaponry to missiles, fighter planes, and in some cases armored infantry carriers, or to the most basic infantry company.
So how does it work? With one squeeze, the shooter triggers the aiming system, which then locks onto the target and allows the trigger to be released.
The shooter's ability is not decisive. I can shoot from one shoulder or the other, one knee on the ground or standing up. It doesn't matter if I shoot well or not. The system fixes all my faults.
Here is a typical assault rifle, which can be used by all armies. This is our system. Inside you have a mini computer, optical sensors, and an image is imported into the viewfinder using very complex algorithms. The objective of this system to no longer impose requirement for precision on the shooter.
For ballistics experts, it's ultimately like sending a precision missile over several hundred kilometers, except in a smaller caliber of 556 millimeters.
We revolutionize the infantry world. Whatever the soldier's level of experience, whatever mission, our system allows to hit only the chosen target, terrorists or other target, in order to avoid collateral damage.
We also tested this new so-called smart viewfinder. Kneeling on the ground, it takes a few minutes to get used to, because simply pressing the trigger is useless. You can certainly take control of the weapon, but with this system, you become a short-range sniper.
It's a bit weird. We feel like in a video game, you just lock the target, and then it goes.
The proof is in the facts. All bullets hit their targets. They're marked here by this instructor.
You see all the white marks? These are the bullets that you shot. These white marks were made today.
According to this company, the American troops deployed in Iraq and in Syria are already equipped with this technology. An operational system for Israeli soldiers in sensitive areas is also in use in Gaza or on the Lebanese-Syrian border. Soldiers can also take advantage of the precision of the sight to hit mini drones with accuracy up to a few millimeters.
My vision is that this system will be used by all armies. The field of assault rifles must imperatively experience this revolution.
The next step, therefore, will be transforming all infantry companies in the world into more modern, more precise units, more connected to each other.
Okay, so before I end this video, I want to show you the Hermes. This is a drone from Israel. Israel has hundreds of drones, Israel is one of the top countries in drones manufacturing, and they're one of the strongest countries in this department as well. So they make their own drones. This drone that I'm going to show you has many capabilities. You're going to see it. I want you to see this so you can see all the capabilities that Israel has, not only in land, but also in the air as well. They're prepared everywhere. Israel has all kinds of weapons, all kinds of defense systems, and this is one of the top technological military advantages that they have in the world. Take a look at
this. For various forces around the globe, making them the most versatile and reliable tactical unmanned aircraft platform in the world. With improved payload capacity, longer range, extended endurance, higher flight performance, and weather resistance, the Hermes 900 air vehicle can perform longer missions in the hardest environments. A 2.5-meter-long internal payload bay and external wing hardpoints enable easier customization to a wide variety of missions using various multispectral payload configurations. With standing configuration, the Hermes 900 wide-area optical and SIGINT payloads enable effective coverage, detection of multiple and covert targets, and pinpointing selected ones, thus closing the sensor-to-shooter cycle quicker than ever before. In standoff configuration, the Hermes 900 flies remotely from the area of interest, exploring and gathering information without being detected. In maritime patrol configuration, the system covers large water areas, integrating ISTAR capabilities into the Navy's maritime data network, thus decisively contributing to overall maritime situational awareness. The Hermes 900 integral satellite communications link the air vehicle to the Hermes ground control station. The Hermes GCS, common to the entire Hermes UAS family.
Okay, so you just saw the last thing that I wanted to show you. The Israelis have even more capabilities, more technology in the sea. I'm not gonna go there. I might make another video to show you their technology on the sea. They have dolphin submarines that are nuclear. They have many ships, warships in the sea. And they're going to have more, even more, and all the technology they have for the tanks, and for every vehicle that they have it as well for their ships, like the defense systems. Okay, the missile defense systems, they have it for the ships. They have great helicopters as well, and they have all this technologies that they make, they put it on their helicopters. I didn't talk about that either. But they have some great helicopters. These are helicopters that they didn't. That's why I didn't put them there, because they're not inventions from Israel. But all their technologies, they put it on their helicopters and on their ships as well. Okay. And if they have to make their own helicopter, they'll do it. If they can buy if they can't find nobody who sells their helicopters, they will make their own helicopter, and they will be great helicopters. Israel can make anything. There's nothing impossible for them. They have the knowledge from God. So, like I always say, God bless Israel. God bless the United States of America. God bless you all. Okay? Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my channel, Boricua Science Nation. My name is Daniel Peña. Like, comment, and share. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.